All right, let's talk about the most important concept in self improvement. More important than the grind, more important than staying focused, and that's to bounce back. And I don't see a ton of self improvement YouTubers, gurus, articles, even books really on the concept of bouncing back. And this is something that I've put a lot of stock into personally and something that I value a tremendous amount. And I think it can be the reason that some people make it out and some people stay held back forever. And I think this is something that everybody should listen to, adhere to, and see how they can implement in their life in the most effective way possible. Now, the reason I think that bouncing back is more important than any of these other things that I mentioned, like constant grinding, is because your ability to bounce back from failure is not only going to build some of your skills like resilience, but it's just going to allow you to make mistakes and forgive yourself for those mistakes that you made. You're going to be able to mess up and learn from those mistakes immediately. Now, bouncing back is way easier said than done. So a lot of you may be hearing this thinking like, okay, bounce back sounds fairly easy, right? Okay, it's not as easy as you may think. You have to look at yourself like a stock, right? Because with this whole self-improvement lifestyle, these habits, you're essentially investing in yourself. All these good habits you're doing, you're investing in yourself, and your stock is rising, steadily going up. As you're more consistently, more often doing these good self-improvement habits, your stock is rising, 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 right? So when you mess up, when you skip the gym for a day, when you eat unhealthy for a day, when you kind of lay in bed, do nothing, spend all day on social media, whatever it is, however you mess up, there are a myriad of ways to mess up and kind of, you know, fall back or have a stagnant day, right? Every time you do that, your stock drops down a little bit, okay? And that's fine. Stocks are extremely volatile, as we all know. They're not meant to just go up constantly. They're going to go like this, okay? But see, the most important thing of a stock and you as a person is how you bounce back, right? So stocks that go like this all the time, right? Sure, you kind of have more faith that they're able to reach that point again, but it's like those down lows, it's going to take a while to come back up. So this is where the concept of bouncing back comes in. When you have that little dip, you have those days where you messed up, you didn't do the right things, you didn't follow your good habits. The next day, you can maybe not have it right exactly where you were, depending on what you did and how much. You can't bounce back right away, but over 2 or 3 days, okay, you're back where the same level you used to be, no matter what you did to mess up, right? Because progress is not linear, right? You don't just go like this. You don't go on okay, I went to the gym for 2 months straight, and then I missed one day, and now I have to start over again. It doesn't work like that, right? It's the same thing with almost everything, like NoFap, right? If you've been on, you're trying to do NoFap and you've done it for 4 straight months, and you mess up one day, you don't start from the beginning, okay? Because it's not about your streak or how long you can do this in a row for. It's just generally about building these habits and living a healthier lifestyle and having a better mindset overall, okay? You don't reset your progress by messing up one day. But a lot of people get in their own head when they mess up, right? They allow themselves to slip further down a rabbit hole and continue messing up days and days in a row. Now, after you have that bad day, now everything can look terrible. First of all, you have to learn to forgive yourself. You have to learn to say, okay, I messed up, but it's fine because I know that this is not what I'm supposed to do permanently all the time, every single day, and it's okay that I did this one day, right? You got to forgive yourself immediately. You as soon as that day is over, or as soon as you roll over to the next day, you got to say, I messed up. You have to acknowledge it, say I messed up, and move on to the next day. Now, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to, after doing so much bad stuff that might also just be, instantly gratifying. Things like, oh, I watched movies, I ate crappy, I missed the gym, I laid around, I did nothing, played video games all day, right? It might feel good because all those stuff is releases dopamine in our brain and is meant to make us feel good emotions, right? It's going to be hard to just say, I'm not doing any of that anymore the next day, because the day after messing up is always going to be the hardest. You're probably going to feel like shit in the morning because you did stuff you weren't supposed to be doing. But you have to power through that, and you have to understand that what you did, those things you did, aren't good habits to do in the long term. If you can understand that concept of that these habits are okay if you are not doing them consistently for long periods of time, you will be okay. That is exactly how you can bounce back. When you realize that, okay, yeah, maybe I just laid in bed yesterday and played video games all day, watched movies all day, kind of ate junk food, didn't really do any physical activity, okay? It is going to be so much easier to bounce back when you realize it's fine that I did that stuff one day, but now I got to get back to it, right? You got to forgive yourself for that, not hate yourself for that. And sometimes it's even okay to do that for one day when you can understand that the next day you have to get back on your purpose. And it will be hard because your body and your mind is gonna tell you, wow, that was really fun, or like I had to do no work, no effort, like it was so easy and I was enjoying myself. Why don't I do it again? No, you cannot think like that. That's the dangerous pit that many people fall into, where they say, okay, I did this yesterday, I'm gonna do it again today. And this is where the main issue of bouncing back and where people fall short comes into play. This is the number one point I want to emphasize for everybody watching this, and in terms of bouncing back. The number one point: do not, and I repeat, do not let whatever bad habit you may have fell into, or whatever thing that you did wrong, whatever thing you got off track of, do not let it happen 2 days in a row. Now, I know that may sound kind of extreme, and I'm not saying that just because it happens 2 days in a row, you still can't bounce back from it. Don't look at it that way, for sure. Just because something happens 2 days in a row, you could still bounce back from it. You could still overcome it. But anytime you do something consecutively, anytime you do something repeatedly, you start to form a habit. Even if it's very early, even if you just did it 2 days in a row, it's just the beginning of a habit, and you could still pretty easily fall out of it. But you don't want to just begin to develop one, right? Like, you don't even want the fetus of a bad habit coming back into your life. That's why I suggest everyone avoid doing these bad things 2 days in a row. This is what's going to separate you forming bad habits from just one occurrence, okay? If you're serious about this stuff, if you're serious about the stuff you're trying to commit to and do, it is okay to mess up. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to do a degenerate thing. This is what I kind of mentioned in my problem with Hamza video, right? It's not an issue to do these things every once in a while, as if you acknowledge it for what it is, and that's something that's not really productive. It's just there to make you feel good, instant gratification. It's okay, because you know why? We understand that that's what that is. We understand that it's really not good for you in the long term, and this is not something you should do constantly, and this is not something that you want to build a habit of doing. We understand that. We are smart enough to know that these aren't things that we want to do for the long term. So because of that, we don't want to do these things consecutively 2 days in a row. And once you understand that, and don't do it like, I'm gonna not do it. I'm gonna do it today, then not tomorrow, but I'm gonna do it the day after that. Don't think like that. Even though that is better than doing it 2 days in a row, because you're not gonna start. If you breaking the habit, the streak, whatever it is gonna be helpful for you, because whatever you did last is going to be more comfortable. You're going to be more comfortable continuing to do. But essentially, what you want to do is to avoid it spiraling to a point of you not being able to control it. You do not want to do it 2 days in a row. And I found that to be one of the biggest, most helpful tips in bouncing back from bad days, from messing up, from just lazy days. Everyone's gonna have these. I know every single person watching this has had bad days, lazy days, or days where they just didn't want to do anything, days where they were a little more irritable, weren't kind to the people around them. It's okay. It's not your fault, right? People may have been mad at you, and it's like, okay, you can understand why. You got to forgive them. You got to forgive yourself. It's all right. Bounce back. Bounce back. Do not let yourself fall into these things too many days in a row. I would just recommend don't do it 2 days in a row, because the best way to avoid it is to not even do it consecutively, and that way your mind is gonna sort of start to understand, okay, this is not a habitual thing that we do. This is just something that happens every now and then, like it will for probably everybody. Learn to bounce back. Okay? Learn to forgive yourself for making mistakes, and go back the next day right back to it. However, you got a to-do list. Make sure you cross off all the things that you would normally do on your to-do list the next day. And that's really all I try to preach here is forgive yourself, and it's okay to do shit that's not productive. Have days where you do absolutely nothing and just do complete garbage. It is okay. People, we're not perfect. And especially if you're on this journey, if you don't even, you probably don't consider yourself an expert at this. Let's keep it on it, right? You watching this video, you clicked on it because you're still trying to improve yourself, right? You're still trying to get better. You're still trying to learn how to kind of put this all together and have it all figured out. And let me tell you something right now. Nobody has it all figured out. Even these other YouTubers that you're watching with 100,000, 300,000 subscribers, you think they all got it figured out? No, that's not even the case. You watch 10 to 30 minutes of their lives every day. What's going on with the other 23 hours and 30 minutes, right? What are they doing with those other hours? You don't think they have days where they mess up? I'm sure you've heard stories of, so I kind of scrolled on Twitter for 10 hours straight yet last night. They do that stuff too. And the difference is they forgive themselves and say, and identify that they have made a mistake and just bounce back the next day and get right back to it. And you just have to do the same thing. Bounce back and get back to it. Don't let it happen 2 days in a row and you'll be fine. Okay. Don't beat yourself up for messing up. Nobody's perfect. Nobody can do this stuff like 365 days a year for the rest of their life. I wouldn't want anybody to do that. I want people to take breaks and enjoy the other things in life. And sometimes that involves doing shit that is not productive or some degenerate activities. Sometimes you got to experience the other side of that to know that it's not really what you want or that's not really what you need. Right? Forgive yourself and learn to bounce back. Once you can understand this concept of, waking up the morning after an unproductive bad day and saying, all right, I wasn't great yesterday, but it's okay. I'm going to get to it today, and it's going to be all good. You didn't mess up any progress. You didn't screw anything up. I don't care what it is that you was doing, right? Unless you burned your whole house down and lost everything, you're fine, okay? You're fine. You missed the gym yesterday, go today, all right? You ate healthy. You didn't eat healthy yesterday. It's okay. Eat healthy today, right? One day of eating bad is not going to ruin all your progress. One day of missing the gym is not going to ruin all your progress. One day of not journaling, not meditating is not going to ruin all your progress. If you do these things consecutively, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, then you start to fall back into the trap. And all you have to do is understand not to do that. No one's saying you can't mess up. No one's saying you can't do these things that are unhealthy for you, even if you want to. Even if you want to take a day off and do absolutely nothing. As long as you understand that the day after that, you're just going to get back to it. You're going to start to get back in a grind of things. And you don't have to go crazy. I'm not saying you have to absolutely put in overtime extra work to compensate for it. Don't even do that. Just do what you would normally do. And you will be fine. Trust me. A lot of people want to put an exclamation point, an emphasis on these bad days. It's the same way that, YouTubers or just people on social media will make a post and have a 1,000 good comments supporting them, telling them how great they are, positive comments, but they'll only pay attention to that one negative one and really hone in and emphasize on it. I'm sure you've heard your favorite YouTuber say this, right? Where they'll get a ton of positive comments, but really the negative ones will get to them and they'll start thinking about it. They've probably been through that. It's the same way with real life. Do not hone in and emphasize on that one bad day because you had 30 or 300 or however many good days before that, and you're gonna have 30, 300, however many great days after that. Okay, so again, learn to bounce back and do not beat yourself up over this stuff, because that's how you succeed in life. Is you say, yeah, I mess up just like everybody, right? But I mess up one day and get back to it, rather than letting myself say, oh man, well, I screwed up, I might as well just give up or start over or what. Nah. All right. Learn to bounce back and everything will be easy. Everything will be easy. In terms of relationships, you can apply this to anywhere in life. You had a rough day with your girl, sleep on it. Sleep on it, wake up, go back to her, say, yeah, I wasn't thinking clearly, critically. I shouldn't have raised my voice because I know, as a person, I got to be cool, calm, and collected, keep my composure at all times. My fault. It could be applied to any aspect of life that you want. Learn to bounce back. Learn to not fall into the pitfall. Forgive yourself. and don't let these bad habits, bad things that you do happen 2 days in a row, you will be fine. You shouldn't even feel an ounce of guilt for doing this stuff one day if you know that you can bounce back the next day. It should only become a problem when you're doing it consecutively. I don't even feel bad when I sit at home on a weekend one day and do nothing. I don't do this every weekend, obviously, but when I do, I don't even feel bad for doing it. You know why? Because I know the next day I'm just gonna get back in the gym, get back to eating healthy, get back to being productive, all this stuff that I normally do. I don't even feel bad for doing it. Who cares? Who cares? I'm doing stuff 6 out of 7 days of the week that's productive while you're doing, crazy amount 3-4 days in a row and then burning out the last 3 days. You're just doing nothing. Who's gonna make more progress? Think about it. Okay. All right, well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope this video is helpful to you. I hope you can take something from it and implement it into your life. Whether it's just the concept of bouncing back or forgiving yourself, whatever you need to take and add into your mix and concoction of self-improvement mentality, please add that to it. It's okay to mess up. We all mess up. Your friends mess up. Your neighbor messes up. Your parents mess up. You're going to continue to mess up. Don't make a habit out of messing up. Forgive yourself. Don't even feel bad for messing up. It's a part of the process is failing, right? You didn't expect to get on this journey and just be flawless, right? Especially for a beginner. Did you? Did you?